Tell me about today. How did it go for you today?
I thought it was pretty good practice mentally. I mean, I feel like the energy was a little bit low to start, but we definitely picked it up and got going, so it was good.
How'd you find out about the fact that you're going to get to start this week? And tell me kind of what's transpired in your mind as you get ready from the end of last game to getting ready for this one.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a combination of J-Jack letting me know, and then obviously the media was all over the place with it, so I kind of found out through that as well. And we're just going to prepare. I mean, I watched a lot of film yesterday on Sask, and I feel like we're prepared. We got a pretty good game plan going in, and I'm excited to go execute.
You came in a very similar situation last year to get your first start last season. What did you learn from that experience that maybe you can use this year coming in a very similar situation?
Yeah, so just from last year and even the year before, I just realized you never really know when you're going to be called, so you always got to be ready. So not that I wasn't ready last year, but I definitely was more prepared this year, especially with McLeod's help and learning how to prepare to go execute and play games. So I feel like I was definitely more prepared this year to go in, and the situation I went in was ideal for me, but not for our team, just because there was nothing to lose, right? Because we were down by so much.
Yeah. Tell me about. You've probably watched it on tape a couple of times now, if not more. Tell me your thoughts on what you saw in your performance on Sunday.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there's always little things you can critique, but when you play football, nothing's going to be perfect. You know what I mean? There's always going to be things that don't go your way. There's things that will go your way. You kind of just have to be able to adapt and go on the fly.
So you were still sitting on the bench in the third that fans started chanting your name. What are you thinking as you're hearing that?
I mean, obviously, I love support, but then I also, feel bad for McLeod, right? Because he's going out there and trying to do everything he can to win, right? So I want to be a good teammate, so I appreciate the support, but I also, got to back my teammate up at the same time. And I just knew at some point, I have to be ready if my name is called. And so I was prepared to go in mentally and physically, and I mean, physically I haven't played, so I was definitely ready to go in physically. But I was ready to go in and play, and I just went out and had fun.
What kind of expectation do you have for yourself?
I just expect to go in and do my job. I'm not going to go in and try to be a superhero and change what we've been doing. I'm just going to try to do what I can do, execute at a high level, and get my receivers and running backs the ball and let them, be the heroes and be the superstars.
Trey, how do you think you've grown from last season? I mean, you got 10 starts last year. That's a lot of starts in a season. How do you think you've grown?
Just being more comfortable in the pocket and, being able to get to those second and third reads is probably the biggest improvement that I've had so far.
And how, we know you can run. It's pretty obvious. But how do you want to use your legs even more effectively? And as far as pocket presence and things like that?
Well, I want to use my legs actually the least amount as possible. If I don't have to run, it'd be ideal. But it's definitely a threat on the defense. So I want to make sure that I am keeping the defense honest and making them account for my legs, even if I don't use them. So.
Have you practiced differently with McLeod this year? Have you practiced so far this season in a different way than you did last year? Focusing on different things.
Practice is pretty similar. I would say it's more game prep and just film and looking at defenses is, what he's definitely helped me with. But I also feel like it is kind of more important than being on the field, because on the field, you're throwing the ball. That's all it really is, and you have to go through those reads. But if you're locked in the meeting room and you know where you're supposed to go with the ball, it makes throwing it a lot easier.
Can you put your finger on one thing that you've really picked up from McLeod?
He just really, you could say X's and O's, but even stuff outside of football, just how organizations operate and coaches and other players on the team, how to handle certain situations, just everything as a whole. I've kind of just taken it all in.
Trey, what about the pressure that must come with this situation? I mean, you're coming into a team that's 0-7. The fans saw something that they haven't seen this season in a very small glimpse. How are you handling that? And walk us through what that's like in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel too much pressure. I always get nervous for the first play, though. I don't know why. It's just the first play, and then I'm good after that. But pressure-wise, I don't feel like there's a ton of pressure because, I mean, I'm a young guy. We're 0-7. You know what I mean? What are our expectations for our team right now from the outside world, right? They're not expecting a lot. I feel a little bit of pressure from our teammates and coaches and stuff because I want to, go out there and win and prove we can win with them. But the outside, if they're like, oh, Trey has to go throw for 700 yards and 8 touch, that doesn't matter to me, to be honest. As long as I can get out here, if I throw for 200 yards and 87% or whatever it is, as long as we're winning and they're getting the ball and doing what they can do, then I'm happy.
Well, and your last win came in Regina against Saskatchewan as a starter.
Yeah.
And you relied on different targets than what the fans have seen thus far, specifically your relationship with Gavin Cobb. It seems like you guys have a connection, obviously being drafted the same year, going through some injuries at the same time.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that relationship with Gavin Cobb, as well as the wealth of talent you have at the wide receiver position?
Yeah, so I haven't actually got a lot of reps with Gavin at all, which is kind of weird because, you know, we are kind of in the same situation. But I got a couple with him today, and I actually love throwing to him just with how athletic he is and how fast he is. I mean, he's one of our fastest receivers, and once he's down the field, too, he has a 40-something inch vertical. So even if you throw it high, he's going up to get it, and then he's short enough to get the low one if you need him to. So he's definitely a dynamic receiver, and I love having him in our lineup.
Noticed, I mean, maybe KB's not playing this week, we'll see, but having the chance to work with Javon Leak and even with Rankin, and you know, Javon was quite impressed with what he saw out of you, and it was like, it's neat to play with Trey finally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited to play with him for sure. I mean, just getting him the ball in space is going to be a big thing for us. So that's what, you know, I'm trying to plan on doing, is just getting him the ball and also handing the ball off and letting him hit those holes, right, and making people tackle him, because he's a hard guy to tackle, right? And same thing with Rankin. Like he's another dynamic guy. Just, I know he hasn't played in the game or anything, but even last week at practice and today, like, he's getting the ball, he's making guys miss, and he's also cramming up in little holes and everything. So they're both dynamic backs, and I can't wait to see what they can do.
The intelligence and the instincts of Javon to go downfield and find an open spot for you, does that open your eyes there?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to tell the offense before I was going in, when I found out I was going on a sideline, I'm like, listen, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it probably will. When I scramble, make sure you guys are running around, because some receivers, you know, they don't haven't played with me, then they just start watching. I'm like, no, you guys got to be running around, right? Because I'm always trying to keep my eyes downfield and find somebody for a big play.
There's scramble rules and there's straightforward rules.
Yeah, you know, they're slightly different,
I'd asked this. I'd asked this to your head coach as well, so I wanted to have your take on it. As far as the timing of the announcement, it seemed more and more that there's a wait before announcing who the starter is, especially in a situation like this. Were you surprised to find out as early in the week as you did, or were you breathing a sigh of relief that now you have the full week as the number one to practice with that unit?
It's definitely nice to have the full week to practice and, you know, be ready to go out there and execute and know, like, what you got, what the game plan is, and have a chance to run those plays. But, I mean, that's the biggest thing I've learned in pro football, is it really doesn't matter. You just get thrown in a situation and you just got to make something happen.
I'm using easy as a word that I know it doesn't apply here, but it looked easy for you on Sunday when you came in. Were you surprised you're able to generate what you generated in 10 minutes?
I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I was definitely happy with what I did. I thought when I was playing, I thought the reads were really, really clear, which was nice, because, you know, that's when stuff kind of gets crazy, when the reads look different and then you start looking around all over the place. But, you know, I thought, like, the reads were there. They were, like, first and second window throws, nothing crazy. And then I was able to scramble sometimes when the pocket broke down, and then that's just all instinct when that happens, just running around looking for somebody downfield, if not running around a little bit more.
Fans have been hanging their heads, Trey, when you came in and you got them on their feet. How does that make you feel?
I feel good personally, and I'm just happy that I could provide that for them. I know, like, if you come out to support a team and they're losing every single week, I know it gets hard, you know what I mean? And just being here the last, 2 years as well, like, I've understand what the fans have went through, so I'm happy I can provide another spark for them and, give them something to look forward to. Cool. Perfect. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for